Hey everybody, it's Marty JavaScript Party. I'm my buddy Rhett, and once again, it's Saturday morning, or it's not even morning. It's Saturday at almost 3 o'clock in the afternoon. 45 degrees Fahrenheit outside, and I don't know exactly what I'm going to be working on here. I think this is the say hello effort, but it might be the flashcards effort. I've come up with like different ways of kind of coming to speed, and it looks like say hello is what I was working on. One of the things that like as a computer programmer, professional computer programmer, um, like we've gotten to the point where like I don't think many people get to work on one project. I think you have to work on a lot of projects. And even if you are working on one project, you may very well be working on a bunch of stories because I think one part of it is that we've gotten faster and faster at being able to develop stuff, but like the other parts of the software development process have not been able to get faster and faster. So, a lot of times as a developer, you can be working on 4 or 5 different stories and they're all take a lot of deep thought, but they don't um but like, some of them are like in the middle of QA and some of them are waiting to get through production. Some of them are trying to get into PR, and some of them you guys are just fleshing it out and making, figuring stuff out. And you kind of have to shift from project to project and story to story a lot. It's like not you can't really stay focused on a single story anymore. And that I kind of like I used to only work on one story in one project, one idea. There's 10 of us all working on one idea. And now as I generally don't work with other people. I mean, I'm on a team and we work together on the same code base, but we don't work on the same stories. And we don't, and I don't, I work on many. And so but for me, what happened was I went from working on one thing that I focused on all the time to working on, 6, 7, 8 things at any given time. But I went from one, like 3 days a week and then another story one day a week or something like that. Like it's slowly, and I picked up a bunch of skills along the way, but I never really thought as I was developing those skills how I never really documented or even thought through the process of how I was accomplishing things. And I think I do use this recent a lot, open recent, to determine exactly what I'm working on. And then, so that's usually like one of the very first things that I'll do is and then once I've figured out, okay, I'm in this different folder, the next thing is generally the name of I make heavy use of the name of the branch to figure out what I'm working on next. And it does take a bit. Um, so setup, Dreamhost, and deployment. So it looks like we are we're setting up Dreamhost and the deployment. And that was issue number 5. So now let's go ahead and let's go to GitHub and look at issue number 5. It says say hello. Right, say hello. And go to our issues. And yeah, so this is opened and we are still working on it. And it looks like we do have some changes, and we did change our Angular JSON, our package, and our Angular JSON. So let's look at what we did. So inside of our package, we did add a build configuration I like email. And then inside of Angular, can't really tell. Maybe we don't have a change. Let's see. Oh yeah, angular.json. Okay. We added this configuration, this I like email configuration, which sets the base href say hello. So I believe what I expect to happen is to look in here, oh, and see base href is equal to say hello. And then, so what I want to do now is check to see if I go to ilikeemail.com, say hello. Okay, so it does look like I actually finished this, but I did not commit and push it. So not sure exactly why I didn't commit and push it, but um, and let's just double check that we don't have anything broken in our network. Okay, so now I'm going to push and commit this, and I will just drop out of this flow for a second and just express that 15 minutes ago I was deep in thought, just absolute deeply rooted in thought of why the hell can't I tease apart my 3JS animation service? Why is it so complicated? And trying to think about like dependency injection and patterns for that and stuff like that. And now I'm deep into this. That was not something that I could have done 20 years ago. I would never have been able to um, uh, uh, my wife is curious for another 10 minutes or so. Um, so, this is not something that I would have been able to do 20 years ago. Like, I wouldn't have been able to change gears from so dramatically. Um, and it would have been really hard on my brain. And now it just is like, I can do it. It's no big deal. But anyway, so now we're deep into this other thing, and we have our say hello. Um, we can push out to this. And so so here's the thing is, so let's go to I like email. The reason I care about this so much is because when we go to voice, when I built this out, I had all kinds of problems and I got it to work, but I kept having to write code and stuff like that, and I didn't really understand it because I was just elbow deep into just a mess of trying to figure out why I couldn't deploy this. And one of the things that was really tricky was the fact that we get like our route changes, and the fact that you need to be able to hit reload, and the server needs to be able to understand that we're at a different route now, but we still want it to show to the same. Uh, we still want it to load from the root directory of voice, but not ilikeemail.com. So it was trying to load things from ilikeemail.com or from a discrete folder which doesn't exist. Um, so I had to figure all that out, and I had to kind of figure it out in real time. And it was like lots of different issues. There was probably like 10 different issues, and I would rather deal with those issues one at a time. So, so that's where I'm actively, because when I had to deal with all those issues all at once, it was almost impossible. Um, but with this, what I'm going to want is when we go to say hello, I want the very first thing. I mean, it's going to be in our say hello directory, but then also the next thing in the route is going to be the language. And then the next thing in the route is going to be the, I don't know, so, it's going to be like English US, um, English or Spanish SP. Um, so the locale. So you have your region, or you have your language and then your locale, and that's going to be. So we're going to be making heavy use of that, and you're going to need to be able to to go straight to the language and the locale you want. But basically, the whole idea is going to be that you're going to be able to do this. Hello. and then you're going to get like a language, and it's going to, and if it recognizes it, then it'll give you a little box or something, and if it doesn't, it won't. And so, but so in this, like we can do Spanish, and then we can close that. Hola. And as you can see, we have our, it saw that I said hola. So, that's the thing is, but in this case, it would be ES for Spanish and MX for Mexico. So it'd be /ES/MX. So that's going to be a problem if with this. So anyways, so now let's do our commit. And I think the way, well, this is, I don't remember what video this is. I think the way I like to do these is I like to go video number. So let me go find another one too. It's probably easier to. So this is a video number 7. Oh wow, it's 3 o'clock. Always change up my lighting at 3 o'clock every day. 1, 2, 4. I can't even tell you how much it has helped my sleep. To hang on 1 second. Doing that really helps me with my sleep a lot. I turn on a red light right at 3 o'clock, and I turn off one of the lights, and that kind of tells my body that we the that the brightest part of the day is over. And so, like in 5 hours or 6 hours, when I try to go to sleep, I can. If I leave these lights on, or a lot of times on the weekends, I'm done. I've been done for a few hours, and then I don't do this process. It is so much harder for me to fall asleep that night. But anyways, okay, so basically this is going to be video 008. And it is, in fact, a super commit. So that means that I'm going to merge it. And then this is issue number 5. And it sets up or configures the Dreamhost setup. And then I'm going to hit enter. Now that's not going to work because I didn't commit it. I usually like to stage things like this. And then push it. And then we're going to go over to GitHub. And I do feel like, man, like these skills that I'm sort of demonstrating right now are like they are the skills that like really prevent a lot of people from being able to work on their own stuff and do their own kind of thing. Um, and it is just, I don't know, so much better to. Okay, so let's go to code to be able to do your own stuff. Okay, so basically when you get to code, usually once you've set something, it'll do this. I don't actually know how to get to this. Hello, say hello, compare, setup. So apparently, yeah, I don't know exactly how you get to that if you're not, if you don't get that little pop-up. Um, but I wonder if I should make that capital D. Okay, I'm going to assign it to myself, and then I'm going to just take a quick peek at the thing. So normally you as the developer will go ahead and create the pull request. And then generally you've assigned it to somebody and they'll get like an email. and then that email will generally have a link to this, and then they'll be able to come over here and they can see your commits, which, a lot of times they really do care about this naming. Sometimes they don't, but it really helps the people who are deploying stuff to production and stuff if you have good commit names. And then they'll typically look at the actual code changes, and that's how you do that. And then here at the conversation, you can, so in there, like right here is the place where you'd say, um, like, let's say we wanted to, I think we click here, yeah, and we could say, oh, maybe this should be true. Maybe we should create a source map. Generally, people in production don't want to have source maps because of security, but for debugging, it's really nice. And it is as simple as changing that and then building it out, and then when you deploy it, um, pushing out the source map. Um, so anyways, so basically I'm going to merge it. So now this code will become part of the main, and I'm going to delete my branch because these things do stack up. I don't really like deleting things. I think that's another Gen X kind of thing. I do mention that we tend to be hoarders. We tend to like to collect things. And as you can tell, I got all kinds of stuff I've hoarded over the years. I do like to look at this. So we're at 53% TypeScript, 36% JavaScript, 8% HTML, and 2% SCSS. Okay, so now this issue, it says two, but I think if we were to hit, yeah, it only shows one. Um, and this is our next one. We're going to try to set up our GitHub deployment. And then, so basically, I have already assigned it to myself. We do not have a branch, which is good news. If we had a branch, we could either delete the branch or we could uh, merge the latest dev into it, or latest main into it. So since we are going to be, and it matters because we're actually going to be updating the same files for this effort too. Basically, I believe Control V. We're going to be the next task. This IO deployment. We've done this on that, and basically, if we look at the code, basically we're going to do something very, very similar, and it is probably would be very helpful to. Let me see why. Oh, let's close this. If we go here and we look at flashcards, I think we have a commit. Let's see. How do I do this? So it says we have 16 commits. Install Angular material. This is weird. Did I not? Probably need to install. Probably need to merge that in. Pull requests. Code. What is this? Merge pull request 11. Okay, so that was the commit. What I want to see is my history. Let's see. What is this? Code spaces, pull request, actions, wiki. It's so weird. You would think the history would be like the commit list. Okay, so it says there's 16 commits. Let's see. Okay, yeah, and install flashcard builder, setup. Okay, so yeah, here's where we did our um, Oh, there was our merge, and then this. So we have a commit here. I've never really noticed that before. So we have a merge commit, and we have our actual commit. I'm assuming they're identical, but I don't know. So as you see, we updated 3 files. One of them is package lock, so I'm not worried about it. One of them is package. So we did this thing, and these work together. And it looks like we want to. Ours will be a little different because we're going to have say hello in here instead of maybe, I don't know, actually. Flashcard builder. Okay, so this is actually the name of the repo. So I think it might be say hello, um, which would be kind of cool. And then it looks like we also installed this Angular CLI pages, and we created a couple of scripts to be able to do that. And then in our Angular JSON, we added a new one of these things. And man, is it talk about that's kind of crazy because I think if you look at our Angular JSON in this project, we have something very similar. Let's do a search on I like control, I like email. But we have, we have so many more um, configuration things. So we actually had like for I like email, we actually had a base ref and a deploy URL. But for this, all we had was a base href, and that's it. And this, we added all these other things to it. It looks like for this one, we did not. So anyway, so it looks like we're going to want to do something along these lines. So I'll probably want to use this as a reference um, next week. So anyways, so that is that. So tomorrow, or so next Saturday, we'll update this. It should be pretty simple to work at GitHub, and we'll actually, do that. We'll install what we need to do. We'll do the builds, and then we'll test at GitHub that it actually shows up. And then we'll move on to our um, and then I guess we'll once that's done, we can actually start coding. It does look like on flashcards we're actually starting to code, and looks like the very first thing I did was um, I was like, okay, I'm going to start to code, and then it looks like I changed my mind, and I said, oh wait, we need to install Angular material, so that'll probably be what we do after that next Saturday is um, install Angular material into the flashcard builder, and then yeah, see, I merged it last week. Um, I can't even remember how I got here. Let's see. I think it was, oh, okay, yeah, this thing, this little button there. Okay, so so that's that. Anyways, happy coding, everybody. Bye.